The Seattle Seahawks have a lot to prove tonight against the San Francisco 49ers. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We are here on game day. Not often I post a game preview video on the day of the game, but when you're dealing with Thursday night football, that's what's going to happen. So, we are a workday about 8 hours or so away from kickoff in Seattle, taking on the 49ers, and it's a big game. It's a big game, and we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to go into, and, I mean, we need it. I don't know if we're going to get it, but we do kind of need it, especially after what happened a few days ago. This video is brought to you and sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. More on them a little bit later in the video. But suffice to say that this game is going to show us a lot. And I know that we're all, or at the very least, all of us who understand things and know things and get things, we're all going to be patient with this era of Seahawks football. We're going to give this time to play out. We're going to understand that things are not going to happen immediately just because we get some people out and pull some people in. But a game like this, not only can you prove that you can finally get back at your most important, as of right now, division rival, when you're on a 5-game losing streak against that division rival like we are right now, that you can finally crack the 49ers code that you haven't been able to crack over the last 2 years, but you can also prove how you respond to adversity. Because for the first time in the Mike Macdonald era, the Seahawks are facing actual adversity. People are down on them. People are dogging on them. People are critical and negative on them after a really embarrassing home loss a few days ago to the New York Giants. So, how do you get up off the mat knowing that you've got the short week, knowing you've got an angry division rival, a talented divisional rival coming into your building? How do you deal with that? That's what we're going to learn tonight. And I don't know if the end result is going to be what we as Seahawks fans want, but either way, we will learn something. And just because we're going to be patient with this regime doesn't mean I'm going to throw out some of these early returns. So let's see something good. So I think that when you're talking about this game, when you're looking at this game based on the first 5 games of the season for each team, the thing that stands out to you right now is points, is offense, is scoring, is moving the ball. San Francisco 49ers have been moving the ball at an elite clip so far this year, and their defense really not living up to expectations. The Seattle Seahawks have had a good offense until last week, really. They've had some very impressive offensive performances in the early part of the season. And their defense, the last 2 weeks, has suddenly not been able to stop anybody. So this is a recipe for some serious points and serious yards. So, first, what I would do, doesn't matter who I was a fan of. I could be a Seahawks fan, Niners fan. I could be a fan of the Jets. I could be a fan of the Rams. I could be a fan of the Vikings. I'd head on over to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, best sportsbook and casino on the internet, and I'd check out some of these offensive props for Seahawks skill position players. Geno Smith over under 250.5 passing yards. Ken Walker 60.5 rushing yards. JSN 47.5 receiving yards. You know this team is going to need to move the ball if they want any chance of winning. And you know that the points should be raining down in a game like this on both sides. Yards and points, go and bet on it over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Right now, promo code YouTube150 gets you 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. And 125% deposit bonus on your second and third deposits of up to $2,000. Get over there, get some free money, and bet on the over on some of these yardage props for Seahawks players. Okay, so back to this game. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling right now. I don't trust this defense. We got no Reek Woolen, which is a big loss because he's played really well so far this year, been shutting down his side of the field. Still no Byron Murphy, no Uchenna Nwosu. We'll see what's up with Julian Love. We're getting Mafe back, but who knows what he'll be able to do. Derek Hall playing, who knows what he'll be able to do. Leonard Williams playing, but what state is he in? So, not trusting the defense. This is all about the offense. And the offense could play really well in this game and we could still lose because that Niners offense has proven that they can at least move the ball, even on the best of them. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be enough, but we're going to need at least that. So the thing that really stands out this week, run the ball. This Niners front should not be able to stop you. If you cannot run on this Niners front, that is inexcusable in the modern NFL. This Niners front has no beef. They got nothing big up front to take a lot of attention. Their interior is Swiss cheese, right? Up front, they've got an all-pro and Bosa on one side, and Leonard Floyd's pretty good on the other side, but the middle should be soft. They don't have Javon Kinlaw. Well, they never really had Javon Kinlaw that they thought they were getting. They don't have Hargrave. They don't even have Jordan Elliott. They've got very little going on in the middle right now. Pound it. And usually I don't say this, but this week the matchup demands it. Pound it up the gut. A gap, B gap. I don't know what the Niners are going to be able to do to answer that. Pound it in A gap and B gap and let good things happen. If this interior cannot handle the Niners' interior defensive line, if our guards and center cannot handle this, then they can't handle anything. Because if there's one thing the Niners have a big weakness in right now, it should be that interior. So pound away. And stick to the run a little bit in this game. I think we all know it's going to happen because that's all anybody has talked about this week. But it's not enough to just run the ball. You got to run the ball well. And if we don't see good play from the interior offensive line this week, it might be time to make some significant changes up front. If Laken Tomlinson can't give us plus run blocking in this game, maybe some random guy off the street really would be better. Because he's not giving you much anywhere else. We're not getting much of anything from Laken Tomlinson. But if you can't run block against this front, what are you good for? Anthony Bradford? Christian Haynes? Look, I want to pick one of you and go with you. I don't like this rotation thing, but this game would be an excellent opportunity for one of you guys to go over the top with your performance so you can seize control at that right guard spot. And after this game, I would really like it if the Seahawks could say, you know what? One guy's better than the other guy. We're going to go with him. The other guy's hitting the bench. Or maybe moving over to that left side of the line, and we're going to try something a little bit different. So this could lead to a shakeup, I think, because that interior for the San Fran defense is that soft. You should be able to pound it on them. And with the Niners front being so weak in the middle, because they don't have Dre Greenlaw either. It's Fred Warner and not a lot else that you're happy about right now as a Niners fan. With that, and with Hufanga also being out, that Niners team is probably going to have to stack the box to stop the run. They're going to need to put that safety in the box. They're going to need to play up to the line of scrimmage. What does that mean? What does that mean you're going to deal with? You're going to deal with an opportunity to hit big plays against single high safety. So, Charles Cross had a really great season so far this year. We need you more than ever, man. We need you against Mr. Bosa. And if Charles Cross can deliver against Bosa, and you can properly help out Stone Forsythe against Mr. Floyd on the other side, you've got a chance to hit some big plays. If the Niners need to bring that safety up to stop the run, if they need to respect the run, which will require you to stick with the run the whole game, of course, then that means big plays down the field. That means opportunities to get Metcalf over the top like you did against the Patriots and Dolphins. And that is going to set this game free, ultimately. You hit those, you get those, and you're talking about something. Now you've got an offense that is putting up big points. Now you've got a team that is moving the ball up and down the field. So that's really what I'm looking for here. Of course, you're going to have plenty of other throws there too. I don't think Gino's going to drop back and throw it deep 20 times in this game. But that's really what I'm looking to see. If we can succeed on those plays, if we can dial up some of those and hit them, you've given yourself a chance. Right? You've given yourself a chance because you're doing things the right way. You're attacking this Niners defense in a way that they struggle to handle. And that doesn't even say anything about a guy like Charvarius Ward. He's questionable. What if he doesn't play? That's going to open up even more stuff. That's going to compromise their defense further. And if you do things the right way, if the players execute on a basic level, and Ryan Grubb comes in with the right game plan, then there's no reason why this Seahawks team shouldn't be able to put up at least 24 points. And that gives you a chance. But is it enough for the win? That's where I struggle. That's where I wonder. And that's where I need Mike Macdonald to be the guy that we thought we were getting when we hired him in the offseason. Maybe not all the way, but we need to see at least some of it. When the Seahawks hired Mike Macdonald, you looked at what the Ravens were doing, because that's where he was brought up. That's where he was coaching. That's where he was showing his defensive coordinator chops. And what you saw when he was in Baltimore was nothing like what you saw last week against the Giants. That Giants game plan defensively, the way the Seahawks played defensively against the Giants, missing their two best playmakers, that was right out of the Pete Carroll playbook. Pete Carroll could have come up with that game plan, and I wouldn't have even blinked. It wouldn't have surprised me at all. Now you're playing the San Francisco 49ers. You're playing Brock Purdy. What do? They thrive on plays where Brock Purdy knows what he's going to get pre-snap. When Brock Purdy looks at the defense and evaluates things before he gets the ball, and if what he sees is what he gets post-snap, then he's going to be successful. We know this. We played him a couple times already, and he's had success when he knows what's coming. When he has failed, and this is not just the Ravens game. Remember, the Niners played the Ravens last year. Purdy was terrible. But you've also got some games against the Vikings where Purdy has not played that well. Because both of those teams understand how to trick the opposing quarterback into expecting one thing and getting another. So if the Seahawks go out there and play straight up, mano a mano, what you see is what you get, I can't imagine anything good happening, because that Niners team, they move the ball at an elite rate. They are putting up yards like crazy. Their problem really has been the red zone. They don't do well in the red zone at all. They've been terrible in the red zone. And I don't know if that's a fluke. I don't know if that's indicative of some structural problem with that team right now, the way they're play calling and the way their personnel is. But you need to find a way to show him one thing and do another thing. That is the most important thing. That's more important than not having Woolen. That's more important than not having Nwosu. More important than not having Murphy. That's more important than any one or even two or even three players in this game. Niners are missing players too. They don't even have their kicker this week, by the way, which could be a big deal for a team that can't get in the end zone reliably, right? They don't have Christian McCaffrey. They got their own set of problems. But if you do the things that successful defenses against Brock Purdy have done, then you've got a real chance. Because I do not mind going out because you took chances and they didn't work, right? If they decide to dial up an exotic, crazy, out there performance defensively, if they really try to piece together something that looks like it came out of the Ravens playbook from last year, and it doesn't work and they lose because they gave up a bunch of big plays because of miscommunication, I can live with that. I can live with that. And I think most of us as fans are going to be willing to live with that because it shows they're trying to move in the right direction. But after what I saw on Sunday against the Giants, I think that seeing is going to have to be believing, right? We have to see it before we say it's there. It's like the old days. Well, not even the old days. The last couple of years with Carroll. Carroll would say, we're going to change, we're going to change. And we believed that we would change, and then they would go out there and not change in any meaningful way, and it just got to a point where we didn't believe him anymore when he said he was going to change. So, I cannot predict it until I see it. And once I see it once, maybe that'll be enough. But that one time hasn't happened yet. So, my feeling on this game tonight is going to be Niners 33, Seahawks 27. I think we're going to be in there. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be close. We can do it. I think we're going to put on a show offensively. But I'm not believing either McDonald is not what we thought he was, or he just hasn't had enough time to implement what he wants to do. And it's almost certainly the latter. But we have not had much time since our last game. And that last game was the ultimate reality check that we are not anywhere close to where we need to be yet. So hard to get past that as a fan and as an as an analyst. So, yeah, I think the Niners got us. I think we're going on this 3-game losing streak and maybe the season spins out of control. But I believe that there is a pathway here. There's a clear pathway. This Niners team, they have weaknesses. They have lost 3 games this year already against teams that get this kind of stuff, I feel like. Even a team like the Cardinals, I think they understand this stuff. So if you understand it, there should be some opportunity for you to go out and do it. But this week, for me, seeing is believing. I will believe they can do it only after they do it. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Always gamble responsibly. I will see you guys later. More videos coming later. Videos after the game, of course. Go Hawks.